Second Road.
So I had the sad duty of accompanying two little girls on a flight to bury their little sister after she'd been murdered by mum's boyfriend. And during that flight, the little girl that I was sitting next to became obsessed with the safety card in front of her. And that little girl asked me to read that to her probably 50 times. We would start at the top and we'd work all the way through until we got to the bottom. And every time we'd get to the bottom and we'd read all the instructions, she'd say to me, "So now they be safe." The Central Coast had in the last year about 4,500 individual children reported at risk of significant harm. What does that mean? It's about 4 large high schools where every kid in every seat in every classroom is living a pretty dangerous and miserable life.
Tim Fife.
FACS is the agency that's responsible for visiting kids who are at risk in order to assess the situation and get the kids out of harm's way. When we got there, only 28% of kids who were actually at risk of serious harm were getting the mandatory visits they needed to get.
The assessment process itself was quite clunky and disjointed. You know, the agencies operated in silos.
It used to be really difficult working with FACS. You'd ring someone and they weren't available, so someone needed to get back to you. So it was leaving messages, it was 2 or 3 days of phone tag. You had kids whose lives were falling apart and I was waiting for someone to get back to me. It was really disheartening.
Martha Kelly.
So Second Road came in and we convened a co-design process, which was to bring together FACS along with all of the other agencies that are involved to collectively redesign how the system could work.
When we came to Second Road, it was an extraordinary opportunity. What they did was help us to fill a room with all the people that had some skin in the game, really, to say there's got to be a way of doing this better.
If you try to make something new in more of a traditional, let's say, corporate way, it would be lots of emailing back and forth of ideas and a very slow development and progression. So what we do is we deliberately bring all of the people together into one big room. We allocate us 2 days, 3 days to really buckle down and make stuff together. We were able to do 8 months of work in a week.
So we walked into this room surrounded by whiteboards with this utterly compelling data about what was happening for our kids on the coast. And you can't turn away from it.
So in the process of co-design, we gave the different agencies, representatives of the different agencies, an opportunity to experience what it's like to collaborate effectively, which is something they hadn't really had a chance to do before. And that increased the levels of trust between the different organizations. It increased the levels of production and effectiveness between them as well.
The beauty of co-design is once you've been in that space and you've genuinely jointly designed what you believe is the solution, you're all accountable for its implementation.
A huge success story in this is the development of the MARC, which is an entire facility where not only do the different agencies collaborate in a co-design process, but now they actually work together side by side.
So you're not sending off requests that take weeks to come back. You're sitting next to your health colleague or your education colleague.
It is a different way of working together, a really meaningful way of working together.
It's brilliant. It's the silos have collapsed.
In the 18 months, which really in government land is an incredibly short period of time, we have a brand new facility and we've doubled the number of children being seen. If you get it right when kids are little, they don't end up in your mental health wards, they don't end up in your jails, they don't end up driving half of police business. They become functioning, happy members of society, and that's in everybody's best interests.
Janet Vickers, District Director, FACS Central Coast. In the 6 months that MARC has been open, the number of children at risk that have been seen has more than doubled. Second Road.